if we think about our mind as this formless awareness, and death is definite, when we die, that's that permanent separation of our awareness from our body. And also we can think, part of the death meditation on death is thinking, when I die, what's going to actually help me at the time of death and after death? It's an important question because we are going to die. And just pretending we're not going to die is not going to stop us dying. We're definitely going to die, all of us. And we don't know when. Could even be soon. So then the question is, what's important? What will help me at the time of my death and after death? Those are important questions. Would you agree? This life's, short. A few hundred more months, I said, at most, or a few months, we don't know. It's short, it's going to be over soon. And then what? And then what? Where will I go? What will help me at that time? And we ask ourselves a question in the death meditation. We ask ourselves, will my body help me at that time? When I'm on my deathbed, is my body going to be any use at that point? Pretty much no. All the love and attention we've ravished on our body and the anxiety we've spent on its behalf and all the food we've given it and all the massages and everything else is going to amount to nothing. Our body is going to be like, you're on your own. In fact, if anything, it's an obstacle because of the pain, mind trying to leave the body. Our body's often hurting when we're dying. So our body's no use really at that point. It's not going to help us. So however much we invest in it in this life, we need to know that it's not going to be there for us at the very end because we're leaving it behind and then it becomes like a mindless corpse, which other people are in a big hurry to get rid of. Right? So investing in our bodies is only of limited value from that point of view. Of course, we have to look after our bodies, don't get me wrong. Please keep showering and eating and the rest of it. But it is just a lump of flesh at the end of the day. It's not who we are. It's not the most important thing about us in any shape or form. And it's very fleeting. And pretty soon it'll just be decaying in the ground or burned or whatever. That's the future, inevitable future of our body. And any illusions that our body is going to continue much longer, then we need to think about that because it's just not true, right? Body is very, so there's that. So our body's not going to help us. Our friends and relatives, maybe they can help us if they're helping us keep a peaceful mind and helping us develop minds of faith and love and, looking forward to our onward journey. If they're not kind of clinging on and screaming and wailing and grabbing onto our hands and trying to stop us from leaving, they won't be helping us in that instance. And of course, none of them can go with us. They just can't. It's better to get used to that fact now than when we're about to lose them. We haven't thought about it. We still have a very strong attachment to them. We can take our love with us, but we can't take them with us. Important to understand. And then also we can't take our house with us, or in fact, as Buddha said, any of our wealth or possessions. All that goes with us into our next life is the continuum of our very subtle mind, consciousness, that formless awareness, and all the karma we've created, all the intentions, all the experiences, actions have left some imprint on our mental awareness. Those we take with us. Everything we've done, as it were, goes with us. But nothing else goes with us. So in that context, we start getting some sense of where it's worth putting our time and energy and attention. It's not just on the material world, which is not, we're not taking with us. We've only got a few hundred months of it left at most. But what is going is our mind, quality of our thoughts, our consciousness. If we've trained our mind, if we have strong concentration, strong wisdom, if we have power, if we have love, if we have clarity, even we get to the point we can control our own death process. Such deep acquaintance with our own formless awareness, we're able to control our mind deep levels. That's what we actually want at the time of death. Complete fearlessness, joy, access to the natural bliss of our own mind. These are the things that are going to be important to us. So from that point of view, they need to be important now, because they're not going to suddenly magically happen at the time of death if we've not given it a moment's thought and we've just invested all our time and energy into the material things of life, including our own body and so on. This is why meditation on death is taught at the beginning, so that, as Geshe says, going back to this book, I don't know what book I'm going to look, book to book. It says here, the only way, I read this bit earlier, but the only way finally to end our suffering is by following the spiritual path, purifying our mind, transforming our mind. This is what goes on into the future. This is what we need to invest in. Since in the depths of their hearts, everyone wants complete liberation from suffering, we can say that in reality, everyone needs to follow spiritual path. However, because our desire for worldly enjoyment, material development and so on, is so strong, we have little or no interest in spiritual practice. Very, very distracted these days in general. We're very passive. I think a lot of passivity. We just watch a lot of stuff. Not really using our mind creatively. I mean, I'm generalizing now because I'm running out of time, but in general, we're quite passive, we're quite materialistic, and we're in our heads a lot. So it typically in our society, there's not that much interest in spiritual practice and development. There is some interest, don't get me wrong, in different traditions, not just this one. People, of course, do have interest in spiritual development, but overall, our society is not encouraging it. It's more like encouraging binge watching, isn't it? You can actually read the paper now. It'll tell you all the shows you can binge watch for the next week. You could spend 40 hours watching these shows. Stuff your precious human life. Who cares? Just watch these shows. But it'll give us nothing in terms of mental development, unless we're using them to develop compassion and wisdom and love. Right? If we're alert and mindful and not just watching passively. So from a spiritual point of view, this lack of interest in spiritual practice is a type of laziness called the laziness of attachment. For as long as we have this laziness, the door to liberation will be closed to us. Consequently, we'll continue to experience the struggle, problems, misery in this life and in all our future lives. So the stakes are actually quite high if we understand the continuum of consciousness. So how do we overcome this laziness and actually get interested in spiritual practice and interested in the life of the mind and want to develop peaceful, positive, big states of mind? We want to increase our capacity to love and have compassion for others and know about reality. How do we get interested in these things, which are so important? We have to remember we don't have much time. Like if we had 1,000 years, maybe that'd be all right? Got 1,000 years to get around to thinking about these important topics. But actually, no, I may have a few months or a few hundred months. So now would be a good time to get interested in spiritual practice, meditation practice, transforming my mind. So that's why the death meditation kind of wakes us up, gets everything up. Okay, I've got to get moving. Not in a panicky way, by the way. You don't have to panic. Just in a realistic way. And when we get our, perspective in order, a lot of things fall into place. A lot of our worries fall away. You can see at the first teaching that Jason actually gave on this meditation was explaining all the benefits of meditating on death. Nothing to worry about, nothing to fear in this meditation, because it actually clears our mind of a lot of unnecessary worry and problems and opens a space for us to go more deep and have a broader perspective and actually a far more peaceful attitude towards life.